Guys, welcome back to the channel. And as you can see, we did a little bit of something to the bike to cure the low leg syndrome, short leg syndrome, I should say. So those of you short people, guys or gals, will understand me here. It's tough when you're out there in rough terrain, or you got a dab, put your foot down, you know, to get through a section, turn around even, and you're really short. So these betas, just like every other modern dirt bike, stock, it's tall. So what I did, I set my sag a little bit more than the recommended setting from Beta. I think I set it when I got it home to like 110 millimeter sag. I think they recommend like 100. So I did a little bit more on that. And then now with this new low gut seat, I'll tell you, it's a world of difference. I already did a ride on it. Made night and day difference. You guys definitely recommend it. I did it with the soft foam. So it's very soft. And you know, I'm not that heavy of a guy. So if you're a big boy or a big gal, maybe you want to get the standard foam. This way you don't kind of sink through it as much. But I got the soft foam and it works awesome. There's no I don't sink through it to the seat pan or anything like that. And I did a pretty good ride. I sat down a bunch too to kind of test the seat. And I didn't have a sore butt after the ride, so that was nice. So what I'll do is I'll show you the difference in size. We'll measure from the stock seat to this new Guts racing seat. And then I'll measure, I'm gonna get it stood up straight, and then we'll measure from the floor to the seat. You see the difference in the seat height. And then I got the whole video of me riding it with the seat and stuff like that. That'll be coming out after, but just to show you guys the difference. And I'll show you me getting on it at 5'6" with a 29-inch inseam. So let me show you that, as you can kind of gauge for yourself, you know, depending on how tall you are. So I get that question a lot. So it's good for a visual reference. People like to see. Makes you feel good if you know, like, hey, this guy's 5'6". I'm 5'7", I should have no problem or whatever. But so let me get the camera set up and I'll hop on and you guys can see how I can touch the ground now with it the way I have it set up. So you'll see I'm kind of on the balls of my feet on both sides. And if I put a foot on the peg, I can almost flat foot, you know, leaning off to one side. Before that, nowhere near this. I was tippy toeing on both sides, barely. And then when you boots on, it's even harder because you can't extend your ankle. So this is nice. You sit in the middle there. You know, you can really keep your balance pretty well. And so it's a huge difference. So good visual reference for you. So you can see, and if I sit on the back of the seat too, same thing. Obviously the back's a little bit higher, low spots here, you know, right even with the pegs. And but it's lower all throughout, so. All right, so here's the seat next to the stock seat. I mean, you can see, even at that angle, try to get you guys level. You can see how much lower it is all throughout, you know, even up to the front. Right up there, you're even. But as soon as it starts coming down, the saddle area, like the middle, that's the biggest difference. Probably like 1.25 inches in that area and about 1 inch throughout the rest. So I'll put one at a time on the bike and I'll show you, measure from the ground up. I'll stand the bike up against the toolbox here, so it's straight up level with the weight on it, and you can see the seat height with it sitting on its own weight. All right, so you'll see I got the bike stood up straight. It's dead level. I got it leaning against the cabinet there. And then I got a flat stick on the seat, so I can measure up to that. I'll kind of show you, give you an idea of the seat height with the stock seat. And then, so with the stock seat, you can see how thick it is there in the middle, the seat. We're at about 37.25 inches. You know, the rest going back, 37.5. about 37 3/4. So it goes up from there, obviously, because the seat, the back of the bike comes up, tails up a little bit. So let's get the other seat on, the gut seat, a new one, and then we'll see the difference. All right, so you'll see, bike's in the same spot. I just took the seat off, stock seat there, new seat there, and then you'll see the difference here. We had 37 1/4 before. I hit the, we're at about 36 1/4 now. So that's an inch right there. And then as we go back to the highest part here, we're at about 37 1/4. So you're gaining quite a difference in seat height, as you can see. Plus the soft foam for me, when you sit on it, you sink in a little more. So I'm gaining another 1/2 inch at least there probably, sinking into the seat with this foam being so soft, because the foam is significantly softer on these seats. And, it's really, really soft. The stock seat, although Beta has made them better last couple of years, it's still very firm, and obviously, full seat. The new one's a full seat. And that seat from Guts, if you order it the way I did, you can get it whatever color you want. But if you order it like this with the without the ribs, it is, and just the so if you get the non-ribbed seat, complete seat, it's $269 for the seat. Now you'll see the color's a little off. There's really limited options here. Unfortunately, Beta, the color on the Beta, they call it Beta Red. It's really like 3 different shades of red on this bike. And it's more like orange than red. So it's hard to match. You could go with the orange seat cover from Guts, but then it's more like a KTM orange, and that's absolutely not gonna match. So these decals are kind of red, but they're still orangey. The camera makes them look redder than they are in person. They're a little more orange. The frame is the reddest part, but even that's got some orange in it. It's more on the orange side of things, a very light red. And then the plastics, they're not even, I don't know what the hell you call them, to be honest with you. They show up as reddish or orange, depending on the lighting on camera. But the plastics, being the tank shroud thing there, cover, and the fender and the mask, they're like a neon, they're almost like highlighter orange. That's how it looks in person. You can see the difference in the color from the gauge cluster to this, how orange and red that is. And even that's not a red. So even the Beta handguards, the red decals, they more match the seat, but they don't match the red on the rest of the bike. So it's just, it is what it is. You're gonna have a myriad of different shades of red if you wanna go with the red seat cover. In hindsight, I didn't think of it. My wife said, oh, you could have got the black seat cover. And she's right. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But the black seat cover would look good also, so you don't have all these different shades. I don't mind it, it doesn't look bad. From here, it doesn't look as bad as it does when you go up against this piece. So the red on the race editions is a little more redder. So if you have a race edition like the blue and red bike, the red on that is more of a true red than the X Pro red. It's totally different. I don't know what the hell color you call this, but it's not really red. So if any of you have one, if you see one in person, it's more orangey. The decals are the most red, but even them in person are not red. So that's kind of it. So $269 for the non-ribbed one. You can do a custom seat where they do the side a different color, the top a different color ribs. You just get into more money. I didn't need that. I just needed a basic low seat and something more comfortable in stock, and this totally fit the bill. This is the third seat I've gotten from Guts over the last couple of years. I had the low seat on my 250 Husky when I had that. And every bike, the low seats, you're gonna gain different amount depending on the bike and how much they can shave off, when they're making the seats and still keep it comfortable. So for the Betas, they advertise as 1 inch, and you can see we got about 1 inch lower. Plus with the soft foam, you sink into it a little more. If you're gonna go with the standard foam, you could just, you're figure then you're gonna at least still get the inch lower. And it's noticeable, obviously, as you've seen with the 2 seats next to each other on the bench there, on the toolbox. So I can tell you, I rode it already. It makes a huge difference turning around on the trail. Even when you come to a stop, the ground's a little uneven. When you're out on the trail riding, very rare you come to a spot where it's totally flat. And if you're just barely touching the ground, you come to a stop, unless you really slide off the bike. It just makes it difficult. You're tired, you lose your balance. That's probably 99% of my drops have been from issues where not being able to touch the ground, coming to a stop, or slowing down, or making it, making a turn, something like that, and drop the bike. Stupid stuff like that. So this helps a ton with that, and you're not affecting your performance in terms of the suspension. You don't have to get suspension lowered, lose suspension travel, anything like that. Just with the lower seat. So works great, and the soft foam is nice and is a lot more comfortable than the stock one. Even if you're going to get just the soft foam seat in the standard height, you're gonna gain a little bit because you're gonna sink into the seat more, and it's a lot more comfortable than the stock seat. I can tell you that for sure. You can see that stock seat; it's very orange. On camera, I'm not sure how it looks, but it's very orange in real life. So that's it. Check out the next video coming out after this. We did a big ride on the bike, explored some new desert trails and some wash, and we had a discussion about kind of like what's coming up next on the channel, what ideas I have floating around in my brain about what could come up next on the channel. So stay tuned for that video after this one. Smash the subscribe button if you haven't. It's Joe at Odyssey Off-Road. Check out the links in the video description. Buy some merch, help support you guy, and help this channel keep rolling. We're doing real well, but I can use all the support I can get to kind of keep this thing funded and going. So appreciate you guys that stick around and watch all the videos. We'll catch you guys on the next one.